But listen, owning two homes is fantastic, and it's changed the way we live dramatically. We're healthier and we're happier, and we actually feel more at peace.
And it's also been a learning experience and some work to get comfort in owning two homes.
We made the decision to live in two separate locations. And at first, it might sound exciting, fun, and maybe even exotic. And it is. It can be all those things and more.
But it didn't come or doesn't come without risks. There's stress and a certain level of anxiety. When you own one home, there's certainly a lot of work you need to do to keep it up. But owning two pretty much doubles almost everything you have to do, and it can become overwhelming at times. And we have friends that have 3 and 4 homes.
I know. Today we're going to walk you through a way to make it easier and bring a balance to living in two locations.
For the past 7 years, we've gone through downsizing our big house in New York, which was a 5-bedroom house, and buying a vacation home in Connecticut that's a 3-bedroom house. And then we moved out of New York completely, making Connecticut our primary, which we found was too small.
And then we actually upsized Connecticut and added a home office for retirement transformed and another bedroom, which is always helpful. And now moving our permanent residence to Florida to a 3-bedroom with an Airbnb spillover. More on that later.
Yeah. All of this took thoughtful conversations, not just between Jody and I, but really we included our 6 children and their significant others, and with some of our close friends and extended family. We wanted to make sure we did this the right way. It wasn't an easy decision, but now we fully embraced owning these 2 homes.
The big change for us was the realization that none of it had to be permanent and none of it had to be forever. It could change or be undone at any time. And we were committed just to live our best life ever, especially now while we're still active and healthy.
And by the way, for those of you that are new here today, my name is Mark Rollins.
And I'm Jody Rollins, and we started Retirement Transform in 2017, not only for us, but for all of you and the 10,000 people a day who are turning 65.
Now, we don't focus on the financial aspects of retirement, but rather lifestyle, health, relationships, and more.
And if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button and get notified when all of our new videos come out.
So let's jump into how you and I and others that we know are creating balance when owning a new home. And the first balancing act revolves around your finances, right? You need to start there. This must work, and it just can't be a stress on your finances or you're not going to enjoy it. So you want to make sure you work with your financial planner and your accountant to make sure you're doing the right thing.
And if you think about it, there are some major financial considerations. Do you get a mortgage? What are the rates? Do you pay cash? Do you have that? Do you want a home or a condo? One comes with fees. Maybe they both come with fees. Do you want to rent or buy? Or do you actually want to go and build a house? So there's a lot of things to consider there.
And some people really want to build a house because they've always wanted to build a house. And frankly, it's a great project to undertake. Now, the other questions to think about is, do you downsize where you live now and buy a bigger second home? All of these considerations, the one that Jody mentioned and me, is that you've got to, all of these considerations come into play, but here's the thing. You need to be intentional about everything that you do. It can't just be, maybe we'll try this, maybe we'll try that. And right now with the real estate market as hot as it is, maybe renting makes sense for a little while. The second balancing act revolves around your motives. If it's not clear what your motives are, and frankly, if you're not in sync with your partner, it's going to be a tough thing to pull off.
Some questions to ask is, why do you even want to consider this idea of having 2 homes? If you're not 100% convinced, and my advice would be to go slow. Why do you want to do this? Does it satisfy a need or is it an impulse? And will it actually make your life better and or happier?
And if you have children, talk to them too. What do they think? And are they going to come travel to visit you? In our case, they did. They wanted to come to Florida in the winter. And the other thing is, are you going to change your residency? That's a big decision for some people to make because there's some tax consequences for that. And it can't feel like a burden. Your mindset is critical to make sure you have good balance owning these two homes.
Okay, so finances, we talked about, check. Motives and mindset, check. Now let's talk about location. I mean, for us, it was easy. We wanted to live all year long in warm weather. So we did a whole video in prior YouTubes on why we picked Marco Island, and the link is below, but you'll see some great tips in that.
And that also tied back to our motives. You know, we want to spend the next 20 years of our life living a really active outdoor lifestyle when we can. So we did this to have warm weather all year long, to work on our physical health and our mental health. We needed warm weather for exercise. We're now cycling. We talked about that recently on the YouTube. The beach for our mindset. We're huge fans of sunsets and sunrises. So getting to the beach really has helped us mentally, hasn't it?
Maybe today.
Today.
Some other considerations when you're thinking about location is, you know, we chose not to own two homes in the same weather system, right? That was something Mark used to preach to me when I was looking for a house on the Jersey Shore, to be honest, because I grew up going to the Jersey Shore. But we already owned a house in New York or Connecticut, and in Mark's mind, they were in the same weather system. Right. So that was one of the things that we agreed on. You know, the other thing, is it a viable market for rentals or hotels for visitors when they come? Not all visitors want to stay with you, and for us with 6 kids, we couldn't get a house big enough to host everyone. And like Mark said earlier, you know, it was important for me to pick a place that the kids would come and visit.
Right.
You know, constant reflection for us now that we have 2 homes is, how are we doing? Do we like what we're doing? Can we enhance one or the other more? And that's where we are.
So we hope you guys are enjoying this. We're about halfway through the video. If you like it, please hit the like button or leave a question or some comments. It really is important for us to hear what you're thinking, and don't forget to subscribe. But the fourth area where balance comes into play in owning 2 homes or multiple homes is making both of the homes comfortable. You know, the thing is that we found owning 2 homes that we want to make comfortable really means more accumulation of stuff and things.
I mean, if you think about it, right? You have 2 active kitchens, so you're going to have...
And we love to cook.
Similar appliances in both. You know, maybe 2 home gyms, which may mean, you know, 2 Pelotons or 2, you know, Bosey balls. Is that what you call those
Bosey
things?
balls?
What are those things called?
Not a Bosey ball.
I think it's a Bosey ball.
All right.
You know, it also may mean, and especially for Mark, you know, duplicate outfits and clothing. I'm not quite as good at that as you are. You know, we have a friend who comes down here in Florida in the winter and does Cape Cod in the summer. And
that's the same climate.
It's the same climate. It's warm, both places.
He has this interesting concept where whenever he buys a new shirt or a new pair of shoes or shorts, he always buys 2, one for each home. He has the exact same outfits at each home, which is really interesting. And we started thinking about that to a point, but like you said, you're not anywhere near that.
Yeah.
But not really a bad idea when you think about it.
Yeah,
to
you know,
keep
I
it
could do
simple.
it with a few things, but
Right.
if I'm going to spend money on outfits, I kind of like the variety
Yeah.
in both places. In a minute, we're going to address how to make owning 2 homes easy, and this falls into that category as well.
Yeah. Now, we chose not to ever rent our homes out. So we make them comfortable with the same linens and pillows and nice TVs. We have Sonos in both houses and all of that stuff, including family photos. Jody's a big candle person. You'll always see candles burning in our house at night, and personal belongings in both homes. So we're not worried about someone coming in and damaging any of that.
You know, we really made it, and my philosophy was, I want people to walk into each home and feel the same, even though the homes are completely different. Our home in Connecticut is historical. It's 300 years old. And our home in Florida is only 20 years old, and it has a more coastal feel. But when you come in, you still feel at home.
Yep. So we've talked about finances, motives and mindsets, where do you have the second home, making it comfortable. All of these are important to make balance in owning multiple homes. Now let's talk about the thing that we both love the most, which is figuring out a way to make it easy and uncomplicated.
You know, it's critical that you have those first four things in place. And then this part really comes in when you're talking about attention to detail. You know, big picture, you'll need a good home watch or caretaker for each home, someone or a team of people that will look after it when you're away.
You know, our Connecticut home, because it's 300 years old, it needs constant maintenance.
That house is a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. So, and it goes, we have wintertime for snow plowing. So we have a landscaper, we have an electrician and a builder. All of them have access to the house. They all have access to our cameras. So they all play a role in keeping that house in good shape.
You know, in Florida, it's a lot less maintenance. You know, we have a pool company, we have the home watch team, and we do have a few handyman available for odd jobs.
Right. There's not much to do down here, but Connecticut's complicated.
It is.
Some other ways to make it easy is, well, we talked a little bit about this, we really could fly back and forth and not worry about clothing at each home. Because frankly, Connecticut, most of our clothing up there now is for cold weather. We have all of our favorite wardrobes at both homes. We have security cameras in both homes. We have online thermostats and alarm systems. So we really have eyes and ears on both houses when we're away.
And with all the new apps that you can use on your phone for all of those different things,
Right.
it makes it easy to
It
be
does.
in one place or another. But since Florida's a bit new, we still drove a car down here, so our sense of urgency for some of these comforts being in both places wasn't as critical. But we also have this business, so we cart the cameras and the lighting back and forth, and I'm really hopeful that'll change.
Yeah, we need 2 sets of everything.
Yeah.
And we also just purchased brand new e-bikes that were expensive, and it really doesn't make sense to own duplicate bikes yet. So
Right.
we need to bring them back and forth in the car. But the whole idea here is to be able to fly to and from each home with only carry-on. And we feel like that we have everything that we need in both homes, so we can do that.
Right. And so that makes it easy for us. And you know, the last area to talk about and really have a policy between you and your spouse on is, you know, non-family guest policies, right? Don't get me wrong, we love to have company, but we also love our new retirement life and the freedom it affords us. So you kind of need to have a calendar and a guest policy.
And we got some help from this with, frankly, neighbors across the street who are really chill about having people visit. But the ability for Jody and I to continue our habits and routines that we've developed when company arrives, that's really important to us. And as guests started to show up, we started to act like hoteliers. I mean, we would just wait for them to get up. We would cook them breakfast. What can I do for you? That was our choice. But it really put a kibosh on our life a little bit, and we figured out a way around that.
Well, I'm pretty good and always make an agenda for whoever is coming down. You know, I always have dinner reservations, some planned fun, some downtime. But I think the real critical thing is we now set ground rules for our morning.
Right.
You know, we basically tell our guests, you know, we're busy till 10. You know, I have yoga, or we're going to ride a bike, or we're going to go for a beach walk. And we tell them, join us or not, but you're free until 10.
Yeah.
I think when our kids come down, they mostly join us for our morning activities,
Right.
so we do get that time with them. But some guests like to sleep in. I mean, they're here on vacation.
Yeah, they want to sleep in,
Right.
which is fine. So that's taken a lot of pressure off of Jody and I and made it a little more comfortable to have guests come.
Right.
But we're also getting better at saying no. And we're better at setting boundaries. You know, our homes, one of the things that we did, when we're not in one of the other homes, they are not available for people to stay. We need to be there to host.
Right.
Including
right.
the kids.
Yeah, and
Kind of.
Well, we've bent the rules a little bit
Yeah.
with some of the kids.
Yeah.
Many of them don't even ask.
They don't.
I actually think they like it when we're there because we provide the food.
Sure,
and
we buy all the food and the booze
my
and everything
agenda
else.
comes into
Yeah.
play. But listen, owning 2 homes is fantastic, and it's changed the way we live dramatically. You know, we're healthier and we're happier, and we actually feel more at peace.
And it's also been a learning experience and some work to get comfort in owning 2 homes. We hope that all the tips we gave you today have helped you today as well, so that you can think about having 2 homes and not stress out over it.
If you enjoyed this, please share with your friends, and also please subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below.
And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. And finally, don't forget to join our free Facebook community where Jody and I go live every Tuesday at 12:30. Thanks for listening. We look forward to being with you again.